Hello, English learners. Welcome back to Daily English Talks. I'm Mia, and I'm so happy to have you with me today. In this episode, I'm going to share something very special and personal, my English study routine. This routine has helped me build strong English skills, and I believe it can help you too. Whether you're just starting out or already on your way to fluency, having a good study routine is one of the best ways to stay motivated and improve every day. So get comfortable, maybe grab a notebook, and let's dive deep into how I organize my English learning every day. My English study routine starts first thing in the morning. I like to begin my day with a little bit of calm, and I always include English in my morning habits. As soon as I wake up, I brush my teeth and make a cup of tea. While I'm drinking my tea, I listen to a short English podcast or an audiobook. This usually lasts for about 15 to 20 minutes. I don't stress about understanding every word. Instead, I just focus on listening and letting the language flow through my ears. It's like giving my brain a warm-up before the day begins. After listening, I spend a few minutes thinking about what I heard. I try to repeat a few sentences out loud. This helps me practice pronunciation and build confidence. Even if I make a mistake, it's okay. The goal is to speak and become more comfortable using English. You can try this too. For example, if you listen to a sentence like, "She's planning to travel next month," try repeating it 3 times. Then change the subject. "I am planning to travel next month." "They're planning to travel next month." This kind of mini practice can make a big difference over time. Once I've finished my tea and morning listening, I take a short walk or stretch a little. During this time, I often think in English. I look around and name the things I see in English. For example, I might say, "There's a dog running," or "The sun is bright today." These small observations help train my mind to switch naturally to English. It becomes a part of my daily thinking, not just something I do in a classroom or study session. When I come back from my walk, I sit down at my desk and start my focused study session. This usually lasts for about 30 to 45 minutes. I break this time into 3 parts: vocabulary, grammar, and reading. For vocabulary, I review 5 to 10 new words. I don't just read the definitions. I make example sentences. If the word is achieve, I might write, "I want to achieve my English goals." She achieved high marks in her exam. It's important to work hard to achieve success. Writing and speaking these sentences makes the word part of my active vocabulary. Then I move to grammar. Each day I choose one small grammar topic. Maybe it's past tense, or prepositions, or conditionals. I read a short explanation, then write 5 to 10 example sentences using the rule. Let's say I'm studying past tense. I might write, "I watched a movie last night." "He cleaned his room yesterday." "They visited their grandparents on Sunday." After writing, I read the sentences out loud. This way, I practice writing, grammar, and speaking at the same time. Next comes reading. I choose a short article or a simple story in English. I read it slowly, and I underline or highlight any new words or phrases. After reading, I try to summarize the story in my own words. Sometimes I write the summary, and other times I just speak it out loud. For example, if I read a story about a woman who opened a bakery, I might say, "She always loved baking." One day she decided to open her own bakery. It was difficult at first, but now her shop is popular and busy. This kind of practice helps with memory, speaking, and confidence. After my morning study session, I take a break and go on with my day. But I don't stop learning English. Throughout the day, I try to keep English around me. I change the language on my phone to English. I write my to-do list in English. I even talk to myself in English when I'm cooking or cleaning. For example, if I'm making lunch, I might say, "I'm chopping the onions now." Next, I'll add the tomatoes. Let it cook for 10 minutes. These simple habits keep my mind active in English and make the language part of my life, not just a subject I study. You can try doing this too. Think about your daily routine and how you can include English in small ways. Maybe you can describe what you're doing while you're brushing your teeth or making your bed. Try saying things like, "I'm brushing my teeth." "I'm using cold water." "Now I'm rinsing my mouth." These little sentences may seem simple, but they are very powerful for building fluency and confidence. In the afternoon, I like to spend some time practicing English conversation. If I can't talk to someone else, I still practice speaking by myself. I imagine a conversation or answer common English questions out loud. For example, I ask myself, "What did you do yesterday?" Then I answer, "Yesterday I went to the market. I bought some vegetables and made pasta for dinner." Then I change the subject. "What will you do tomorrow?" And I answer, "Tomorrow I will study English, clean my room, and call my friend." This kind of question and answer routine helps me think quickly in English. You don't need anyone else to do this, just your voice and your imagination. Sometimes I use a mirror. I stand in front of it and talk to myself in English. I pretend I'm talking to a friend or giving a short speech. At first, it feels strange, but after a few days, it becomes easier. The mirror helps because you can see your expressions and get used to speaking naturally. Try it today. Look at yourself in the mirror and say something like, "Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm learning English. I study every day, and I want to be fluent." Then smile, take a breath, and say more. This builds your confidence. I also write in a journal. Every day, I write about my day in English. I don't worry about making it perfect. I just try to express my thoughts. A typical journal entry might be, "Today was a good day. I woke up early and listened to an English podcast. Then I had tea and reviewed vocabulary. In the afternoon, I watched a short English video and repeated some phrases. I'm happy with my progress." Writing in a journal helps me improve grammar, spelling, and also makes me feel good about my progress. Try writing 3 sentences each day about your life. Over time, your writing will become stronger. Another part of my routine is shadowing. This means listening to a sentence in English and then repeating it exactly the same way. I often use short video clips or audio recordings. First, I listen carefully. Then I pause and try to copy the speaker's voice, speed, and tone. For example, if the speaker says, "I'd like a cup of coffee, please," I say it the same way, with the same rhythm. This helps with pronunciation and fluency. If you do this every day for 10 minutes, you'll notice improvement quickly. In the evening, I like to relax with some fun English content. This could be a TV show, a YouTube video, or a movie. I choose something interesting, but not too difficult. While I watch, I try to catch common phrases or expressions. Sometimes I write them down. For example, if a character says, "That's not fair," I pause and repeat it. Then I use it in my own sentence, like, "It's not fair that I have to do all the work." Doing this regularly helps me sound more natural when I speak. After watching, I review what I learned during the day. I go back to my journal and write down any new words or phrases I liked. I might write new word, disappointed. Sentence, I was disappointed when the movie ended early. Or new phrase, no worries. Sentence, no worries. I can help you with your homework. This helps me remember the new things I learn, and it feels like a nice review before bedtime. Before going to sleep, I often do one final exercise. I think about my whole day. But in English, I try to describe my day in my head. For example, today I practiced speaking in front of the mirror. I learned a new phrase from a video. I wrote in my journal and I watched a fun English video. I feel good about my progress. This kind of reflection helps end the day on a positive note and keeps English in my thoughts even as I rest. Now, let's do a short practice together. I'll say a sentence, and you repeat it. Ready? I study English every day. Repeat it. Good. Now try this one. I listen to English podcasts in the morning. Say it with me. Excellent. Let's do a few more. I write in my English journal every evening. Say it again. I talk to myself in English to improve my speaking. Very nice. Keep repeating these types of sentences each day. They are simple, but powerful for learning. Let's now imagine a daily routine. I'll describe it slowly, and you can follow along or repeat. I wake up at 7 a.m. I drink a glass of water. I stretch my arms. Then I listen to an English podcast. I take a shower and get dressed. I make breakfast and drink tea. While I eat, I watch a short English video. After breakfast, I write 5 new words in my notebook. I read a short story and try to summarize it in my own words. I practice speaking in front of the mirror. I write in my journal. At night, I watch a fun show in English and learn new phrases. Try saying each of these steps in your own way. This practice will help you talk naturally about your daily life in English. Some days, I focus more on one skill depending on how I feel or what I want to improve. For example, if I notice that my listening is not strong, I spend extra time on listening activities. I find a short video or podcast and listen to it 2 or 3 times. The first time, I just listen without stopping. The second time, I pause after each sentence and try to repeat what I hear. The third time, I listen and try to write down the main ideas. Then I check if my notes match the content. This helps me improve both listening and writing. You can do the same. Choose a topic you like, maybe cooking, sports, or travel, and find an English video or podcast about it. Try to understand the meaning, and then repeat what you hear. It's okay if you don't catch every word. Focus on the main idea and the sound of the language. Other times, I focus on speaking. I ask myself common questions and answer them in full sentences. For example, I ask, "What do you like to do in your free time?" Then I answer, "In my free time, I enjoy reading books and watching English videos. Sometimes I go for a walk or call my friends." Then I change the tense. Yesterday, I watched a movie and went for a walk. Tomorrow, I will study vocabulary and practice pronunciation. Switching tenses helps me become more fluent and flexible with my English. Sometimes I make it fun by pretending to be in a situation. I imagine I'm at a restaurant, and I practice ordering food in English. Hi, I'd like a cheeseburger and a glass of water, please. Then I change the situation. I imagine I'm checking into a hotel. Hello, I have a reservation. My name is Mia. I booked a room for 2 nights. Then I imagine being in an airport. Excuse me, where is gate 12? These practice conversations are fun and useful. They prepare me for real-life situations. And they also make learning more exciting. I also like to watch short interviews or scenes from shows where people use natural English. I focus on how they speak, the tone they use, and the small words or phrases that native speakers use often. Phrases like, "You know what I mean? That's crazy. No way." Or, "Sounds good." I listen to these and try to use them in my own sentences. For example, "I finished my work early today." No way. That's great. Or, "We're meeting at 6. Sounds good." These short, natural phrases help me sound more fluent and relaxed when I speak English. One of the most helpful habits in my routine is reviewing. I always take time to go back and review what I learned before. I open my notebook, look at old vocabulary, and test myself. I cover the meaning and try to remember it just from the word. Then I make a new sentence with that word. If the word is confident, I might say, "She feels confident when she speaks English." Then I change the sentence. "I'm becoming more confident every day." Confidence comes from practice. Reviewing this way keeps my memory fresh and helps me use words again and again. Another review method I use is flashcards. Sometimes I use physical cards, and sometimes I use a flashcard app. I write the word on one side and the meaning or a sentence on the other side. I test myself once a week. If I remember a card easily, I move it to the back. If I forget, I keep it near the front and review it more often. Flashcards are great for learning verbs, phrasal verbs, and idioms. For example, I might write "give up" on the front. On the back, "To stop trying, she gave up smoking." Or "look forward to be excited about something, I look forward to meeting you." Simple, effective, and easy to use. Let's do a short vocabulary review together now. I'll say a word and give a sentence. Then I'll pause. And you can try saying your own sentence. Ready? Motivate. Her teacher motivates her to study hard. Now you try using motivate in a sentence. Next, improve. I want to improve my English grammar. Your turn. Another one. Challenge. Learning a new language is a big challenge. Try it now. Good job. Keep practicing like this every day. Just a few words at a time can make a big difference in your learning. Now let's practice speaking about daily habits again. I'll describe a simple routine, and you can follow along. Every morning, I make my bed. Then I go to the kitchen and make a cup of tea. I listen to an English podcast while I drink it. After that, I check my vocabulary notebook and review 5 new words. Around noon, I take a short break and watch a short video in English. In the afternoon, I write in my journal and practice speaking in front of the mirror. At night, I relax by watching an English show and repeating some useful phrases. Now you try describing your day in the same way. Use simple words, short sentences, and speak clearly. Practicing like this every day helps build your fluency and comfort with the language. On weekends, my English routine becomes a little different. I still make time for study, but I use the extra free time for more creative and relaxed activities. One of my favorite weekend habits is reading for pleasure. I choose an easy English novel, a short story, or sometimes an article from a magazine. I try not to stop too often, even if I see a word I don't know. I try to guess the meaning from the sentence. Only if I see the same word several times. I stop and look it up. Reading like this helps me see grammar and vocabulary in context, and it also helps me enjoy the learning process. After reading, I usually write a short summary. For example, I might write, "This story is about a young girl who moves to a new city. She feels nervous at first, but then makes new friends. She learns that change can be a good thing." Writing a summary helps me understand the story better, and also gives me a chance to practice writing clearly and correctly. Then I challenge myself by changing the point of view. If the story is written in third person, I try to rewrite it in the first person. Instead of "she moved to a new city," I write, "I moved to a new city." This simple switch helps me get more creative with my writing. Weekends are also a great time to record myself speaking. I choose a topic like my favorite food or my last vacation and speak for 2 to 3 minutes. I try not to stop or worry about mistakes. I just speak naturally and record it. Then I listen to it again and check if I repeated the same words too much, or if I made any common mistakes. For example, I might notice that I said too many times, or that I used the wrong verb tense. This helps me improve my speaking, and also gives me a clear idea of what to work on next. Let's do a small speaking challenge now. Imagine you are talking about your favorite dish. I'll start. My favorite dish is chicken curry. It's spicy, warm, and full of flavor. I love making it on the weekends. I use onions, garlic, tomatoes, and special spices. I usually eat it with rice or bread. It reminds me of family dinners. Now you try. Speak for 1 minute about your favorite food. Describe the ingredients, the taste, and why you like it. Practicing in this way makes your speaking more fluent and interesting. I also like to play word games on weekends. These games keep my vocabulary fresh and make learning fun. One game I play is the word association game. I choose a word, like school, and then quickly say related words like teacher, student, homework, classroom, exam. I try not to stop. This helps with speed and fluency. You can try this too. Choose a word and see how many connected words you can say in 30 seconds. Then choose another word. It's simple, fun, and great for vocabulary. Another weekend activity I enjoy is watching English interviews or documentaries. These help me hear more formal or natural conversation styles. When I watch an interview, I listen to how people ask and answer questions. I write down common phrases like, "That's a great question," or "Let me think about that." Then I try using those in my own speaking practice. For example, I might ask myself, "What do you enjoy about learning English?" and answer, "That's a great question. I enjoy learning new words and being able to talk to people from different countries." Let's try that kind of speaking now. I'll ask you a few questions, and you can pause and answer them out loud. What's your favorite season, and why? Now your turn. Tell me about a happy memory from your childhood. Speak freely. What would you do if you could travel anywhere in the world? Try to give full answers. These types of questions are great for fluency practice. I also use weekends to explore new vocabulary areas. Sometimes I choose a theme, like health, travel, or technology. I look up 10 new words or phrases related to that topic. For example, if I choose health, I learn words like fever, prescription, checkup, symptoms, recover, appointment, clinic, emergency, treatment, and vaccine. I then make simple sentences. I have a fever and need to see a doctor. She got a prescription from the clinic. He missed his appointment. Using new words in real sentences helps me remember them better. Here's a vocabulary practice exercise for you. I'll say 5 words related to travel: passport, suitcase, flight, hotel, destination. Now make one sentence with each. For example, I packed my suitcase last night. Try saying your own sentence. The flight was delayed by 2 hours. Your turn. We arrived at our hotel in the evening. Keep going. My favorite destination is the mountains. Practice like this with different themes: food, work, hobbies, family, and you'll quickly grow your vocabulary. One important part of my English study routine is learning and practicing grammar. I know grammar can sometimes feel boring or difficult, but I've learned to enjoy it by taking small steps. Each week, I focus on one grammar topic. For example, one week I study the present perfect tense. I read about how it works, and then I write example sentences. I have finished my homework. She has visited London. They have never tried sushi. I also compare it with the simple past. I finished my homework yesterday. She visited London last year. This helps me understand the difference and use the tenses correctly in real conversations. I also like to use grammar in context. I don't just memorize rules. I try to use them in real situations. If I learn about conditionals, I write sentences like, if it rains tomorrow, I will stay home. Then I change it. If I had more time, I would learn another language. And again. If I had studied harder, I would have passed the test. These sentences may seem complex at first, but practicing a few each day helps them become easy and natural over time. Let's practice conditionals together. I'll say a sentence, and you try to repeat it or make your own. If I practice every day, I will become fluent in English. Say it again. Now change it. If I read more books, my vocabulary will improve. Try your version. Great. Now a second conditional. If I had $1 million, I would travel the world. What about you? If I could live anywhere, I would live in. Fill in the blank. These practice exercises make grammar fun and useful. Another grammar point I review often is prepositions. These small words, like in, on, at, under, between, are used all the time in English, but they can be tricky. I practice them by describing my surroundings. The book is on the table. The keys are in my bag. The clock is above the door. The shoes are under the bed. This helps me become more confident when using prepositions in conversation. I also like using online quizzes or short exercises. I find a worksheet or website with fill-in-the-blank grammar activities. I time myself for 10 minutes and try to get as many answers right as I can. Then I check my mistakes and write the correct answers in my notebook. I write extra example sentences to help me remember. For example, if I make a mistake with used to, I write, I used to play soccer when I was a child. She used to live in New York. We didn't used to like spicy food. Doing this helps me fix mistakes and get better each week. Let's try a quick grammar challenge. I'll give you the start of a sentence and you complete it. Ready? If I wake up early, I think of your answer. Next, I used to add something you did in the past. Another one. There is a book. Add a location using a preposition. These sentence starters help you think quickly and use grammar naturally. Spelling is also part of my study routine. I know that many English words don't sound the way they are spelled. So I choose 5 tricky words each week and practice writing them. I say them out loud, spell them, and then write them in a sentence. Words like enough, though, knowledge, through, and friend. For example, I have enough money. She passed the test, even though it was hard. Knowledge is power. He walked through the park. My best friend is always there for me. This helps me connect the sound and the spelling in a clear way. In addition to spelling, I also work on pronunciation. I listen to how native speakers pronounce difficult words, especially ones with silent letters or unusual sounds. I break them into syllables and practice slowly. Words like comfortable, comfortable, vegetable, vegetable, or February, February. I also record myself and listen to the way I sound. If something doesn't feel right, I repeat it several times. I use tongue twisters too, like, she sells seashells by the seashore, or red lorry, yellow lorry. These help improve my clarity and control when speaking. Let's try a short pronunciation exercise together. Repeat after me. Comfortable. Now slowly. Comfortable. Good. Now try. Vegetable. Slowly. Vegetable. One more. February. Say it clearly. Excellent. Practicing these kinds of words each day helps your pronunciation grow stronger. I also keep a mistake journal. Every time I make a mistake, whether it's in writing or speaking, I write it down. Then I write the correct version and make a few example sentences. For instance, if I say, he go to school every day, I correct it to, he goes to school every day. Then I write, she goes to work every morning. My brother goes to the gym. This helps me learn from my mistakes and avoid repeating them. It's one of the most powerful tools in my English learning routine. Another helpful routine I follow is focusing on phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs are combinations of verbs with prepositions or adverbs, and they often have special meanings. I know many English learners find them difficult, but once you get used to them, they become easier and even fun to use. I usually pick 5 phrasal verbs each week and try to use them in real sentences. For example, this week I studied look after, give up, take off, run into, and turn on. I wrote these sentences. I look after my little brother on weekends. She gave up sugar last year. The plane took off at 10 a.m. I ran into an old friend yesterday. Please turn on the lights. It's dark in here. Practicing like this helps me remember the meanings more easily. Sometimes, I turn phrasal verb practice into a small story. I try to use all 5 verbs in one paragraph. For example, yesterday I looked after my cousin because her parents were busy. Later, I gave up trying to fix the TV and just turned it off. Suddenly, my phone rang. and I ran into the room to answer it. It was my friend inviting me to a movie. So I quickly got ready and left. As soon as the taxi took off, making stories helps the phrasal verbs stick in my memory. You can try this too. Choose 5 phrasal verbs and write a short story using all of them. Then read it out loud. To practice pronunciation and fluency. Another way I practice is by watching short videos or clips where native speakers use phrasal verbs in conversation. I pay attention to how they use them naturally, and I write down any new ones I hear. Then I try using them in my own speaking. I also practice switching the verb into different tenses. For example, she gives up easily. Past, she gave up quickly. Future, she will give up if it gets too hard. Practicing like this helps me use phrasal verbs more confidently in different situations. Let's do a quick phrasal verb practice together. I'll say a verb, and you repeat the sentence. Ready? Give up. I won't give up on my goals. Repeat it. Look after. He looks after his grandmother. Try that. Take off. The plane took off on time. Say it again. I ran into my teacher at the market. One more. Turn on. Can you turn on the fan? Great job. Keep repeating them in your own sentences later today. Another important part of my study routine is building listening comprehension. Every week, I challenge myself with something slightly above my level. I choose an English video, a podcast, or a story with audio. I listen once for the general idea. Then I listen again and focus on details. If I have subtitles, I read along. After listening, I summarize what I heard. For example, I watched a short documentary about animals. My summary was, the documentary talked about wild animals in Africa. It explained how lions hunt, how elephants travel in groups, and how giraffes eat leaves from tall trees. Summarizing helps me check how much I understood and lets me practice speaking at the same time. Sometimes I write down new phrases I hear while listening. I add them to my notebook and try to use them later. For example, I heard someone say, "It's a piece of cake," meaning it's very easy. So I practiced saying, "That test was a piece of cake," or "Cooking rice is a piece of cake." This helps me sound more natural when speaking English. You can also look for idioms or expressions when you listen. Try to write one new expression a day and use it in 3 different sentences. Let's practice listening together now. I'll say a short story, and then you can try to summarize it. John woke up late this morning. He rushed to get ready and missed his bus. At work, his boss wasn't happy because he was late for an important meeting. Later, he bought flowers and apologized. His boss forgave him, and they both laughed about it in the end. Now try to say that in your own words. What happened? Who was involved? What was the problem? And how was it solved? Summarizing stories like this builds your listening and speaking skills at the same time. In the evening, I always take a few quiet minutes to review everything I learned. I read through my notebook, check my flashcards, and sometimes even teach what I learned to someone else. Teaching is a great way to remember information, even if there's no one around. I pretend I'm explaining the new words or grammar to a friend. I might say, "Today I learned the phrasal verb give up." It means to stop doing something. For example, she gave up playing piano. Teaching helps me understand things better and remember them longer. Sometimes I change my routine to make sure I don't get bored. Learning English should not feel like a job. It should feel like an adventure. When I feel tired of doing the same activities, I switch things up. For example, instead of reading a book, I read the lyrics of an English song. Then I listen to the song and try to sing along. This makes learning fun and helps with pronunciation, rhythm, and listening. Music is a great tool for language learning because it's memorable and emotional. When I sing, I remember the words more easily. Songs also teach me natural expressions and sentence patterns. Another fun activity I add to my routine is watching cartoons or animated shows in English. They often use clear speech, useful vocabulary, and everyday conversation. I listen to the way characters speak, how they express feelings, and how they react to situations. For example, in cartoons, you hear phrases like, "Let's go," "Hurry up," "Are you okay?" These are useful in daily life and are easy to remember because they're repeated in fun, dramatic ways. After watching, I repeat those lines with the same energy. I act them out and try to use the same tone. It's like becoming a character in English, and it really boosts my confidence. I also enjoy reading and writing short dialogues. I imagine a situation, like going to the doctor, visiting a friend, or calling customer service. Then I write a short conversation. For example, A, "Good morning, how can I help you?" B, "I'd like to make an appointment with the doctor." A, "Sure. What day works for you?" B, "Is Monday afternoon available?" Then I practice reading both roles. I say the dialogue out loud, with expression. I change it slightly each time to make new versions. This helps me become more flexible with language. You can write your own dialogues too. Choose a daily situation, imagine the conversation, and then practice speaking it. It's a powerful way to improve both writing and speaking. Another great practice I include is describing pictures or scenes. I look at a photo and try to describe everything in English. For example, if I see a picture of a beach, I say, "There are people swimming in the ocean. A man is sitting under an umbrella. A woman is building a sand castle with her child. The sky is clear and the sun is shining." This builds vocabulary and helps me speak more fluently. You can find any photo online or use your own pictures and describe them in detail. Start with simple things and slowly add more. This practice is also great for preparing for speaking exams or real conversations. I also play the what if game. I ask myself questions like, what if I won the lottery? Then I answer in full sentences. If I won the lottery, I would travel around the world. I would donate some money to charity. I would also buy a small house near the beach. This helps me practice conditionals and imagination at the same time. Other questions might be, what if I could speak 10 languages? Or what if I were the president of a country? This is a fun and creative way to use English and challenge myself to think in different ways. Sometimes I pretend to give a presentation. I choose a topic I know well, like my hometown, my favorite movie, or how to cook my favorite dish. Then I speak about it for 2 or 3 minutes. I introduce the topic, explain the main points, and give examples. For example, if I'm talking about my hometown, I might say, "I'm from a small town in the mountains. It's quiet, peaceful, and full of nature. There are beautiful trees, fresh air, and kind people. The best time to visit is in spring, when everything is green." Practicing like this prepares me for real situations, where I might need to introduce myself or speak in front of others. Let's do a short speaking activity now. I'll give you a topic and you try to talk about it for 1 minute. The topic is, describe your favorite day of the week. Think about what you do, why you like it, and how it makes you feel. Ready? Start speaking now. Great. You can do this practice with any topic. Make a list of topics and speak about one each day. It improves fluency, builds vocabulary, and helps you organize your thoughts in English. Finally, I take time to relax and reward myself. Learning English is not just about hard work, it's also about enjoying the journey. After a good study session, I do something I like. Maybe I watch a funny video, take a walk, or call a friend. Sometimes I even reward myself with a small treat, like a piece of chocolate. These small rewards help me stay motivated and happy about my progress. It's important to celebrate the small steps, because each one brings you closer to your goal. Another method I use in my study routine is focused repetition. Repeating words, phrases, and sentences helps me remember them better. Repetition is not boring if you use it the right way. I repeat things in different tones and with different emotions. For example, I might say the sentence, "I don't understand this word," in a sad tone, then in a happy tone, and then in a surprised voice. This way, I'm not just repeating, I'm playing with the language. I get used to how the words feel and sound in different situations. You can do the same with any sentence you learn. Try saying, "I'm learning English" with different emotions. First serious, then excited, then playful. This adds fun to your practice and helps you remember it longer. I also like to review my weekly learning. Every Sunday, I take my notebook and go through everything I studied during the week. I check my vocabulary, grammar points, speaking exercises, listening summaries, and pronunciation practice. I highlight anything I didn't understand or forgot. Then I make a short plan to review those areas in the next week. This weekly reflection helps me stay organized and focused. It also gives me a sense of achievement because I can see how much I've learned. You can do the same by keeping a simple learning journal and reviewing it once a week. One powerful part of my routine is talking to myself in English. It might sound strange, but it works. I talk about what I'm doing. I'm making tea. Now I'm opening the fridge. I need to buy eggs. This builds automatic thinking in English. I don't need to translate from my native language. I just speak. Sometimes I describe what I see. There's a red car outside. The sun is setting now. This turns daily life into language practice. It's easy, free, and very effective. I also use storytelling. I take a few simple words or pictures and create a short story. For example, if I see a picture of a park, a bicycle, and a dog, I might say, "Yesterday I went to the park. I took my bicycle and rode for an hour. On the way, I saw a cute dog playing with its owner. It barked at me happily and ran around in circles." I say the story out loud and then try to change the tense. Tomorrow I will go to the park. I will ride my bike. I might see the same dog again. This helps me practice tenses and also boosts creativity. Let's do a storytelling challenge. I'll give you 3 words: train, book, and rain. Now create a short story using these words. Think for a moment, then say it out loud. For example, this morning I missed my train because it started to rain. I had to wait at the station for 30 minutes. Luckily, I had a book in my bag, so I read until the next train arrived. Now try your own version. These short story exercises are powerful for fluency and sentence structure. Another great activity is practicing questions. I practice asking and answering all types of questions: yes, no questions, WH questions, and tag questions. For example, do you like coffee? Yes, I do. What time do you usually wake up? I wake up at 6:30. You study every day, don't you? Yes, I do. Practicing questions helps me become more confident in conversations. I even practice asking questions to myself when I'm walking or waiting. What will I do next? Did I complete all my tasks today? What do I need to buy? These small habits build thinking in English. Let's do some question practice now. I'll ask a question, and you can pause and answer out loud. Ready? What do you usually do on Sundays? Think and answer. Have you ever visited another country? Pause and reply. What's your favorite food and why? Try answering with 2 full sentences. Excellent. Keep practicing like this. With your own questions and answers, you'll feel more natural every day. I also take time to listen to real conversations. I find interviews, street videos, or podcasts where people speak casually. I listen to their speed, slang, and rhythm. Sometimes I write down short pieces of dialogue. You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy. I've been there before. Then I try to use these phrases in my own speaking. Learning real English from real people makes a big difference. It teaches me how English is really spoken, not just how it's written in books. Every now and then, I give myself a little test. I set a timer for 10 minutes and write about a random topic. I don't stop or edit. I just write freely in English. Then I go back and check for mistakes. I correct them and write better versions of the same sentences. This helps me think and write quickly, which is very helpful for real-life situations. And exams. You can try this too. Set a timer. Choose a topic like my weekend. And just write. Then review, improve, and repeat. One of my favorite parts of the English routine is connecting with other learners. Even if I study alone most of the time, I make sure to stay connected. I join online communities or forums where people share tips and ask questions about learning English. Sometimes I reply to someone's question or ask my own. This kind of interaction helps me stay motivated. I learn from others and feel like I'm part of something bigger. If I see someone asking about pronunciation tips, I might reply. I use tongue twisters every morning. It really helps me warm up. Sharing and reading other people's experiences reminds me that we're all learning together, and we all face similar challenges. Sometimes I try to find a language partner. A language partner is someone who wants to practice English and maybe teach me a little of their language too. We usually talk once or twice a week through voice or video calls. We choose a topic before we meet, like food, travel, or culture. Then we just talk for 10 to 15 minutes. It's not about being perfect. It's about communicating. If I don't understand something, I ask, "Can you repeat that, please?" If I make a mistake, I try to fix it and move on. These conversations help me gain confidence and improve my speaking in a real way. Let's imagine a short conversation between two language learners. A. Hi, how are you today? B. I'm great, thanks. I studied some English vocabulary this morning. A. That's awesome. What words did you learn? B. I learned words about weather, like rainy, sunny, and cloudy. A. Nice. What's the weather like where you are? B. It's sunny and warm today. This kind of basic conversation is a great place to start. You can even practice both sides of the conversation on your own if you don't have a partner. Another useful part of my routine is goal setting. Every Sunday night, I write down 3 simple English goals for the week. For example, learn 10 new words, watch 2 English videos, and practice speaking for 15 minutes. These goals are clear and realistic. I check them at the end of the week and feel proud when I complete them. Sometimes I don't complete all of them, and that's okay too. I just carry them forward to the next week. Having small goals helps me stay consistent. I know exactly what I need to do, and that makes learning more effective. I also give myself positive feedback. When I finish a task, I say, "Well done," or "Good job." It may sound silly, but it feels good. I remind myself that learning a language is a big achievement. Even a small step forward is worth celebrating. For example, if I use a new word in a sentence correctly, I smile and say, "I did it." This positive self-talk keeps me encouraged. You can try this too. Be kind to yourself and celebrate your progress, even the small wins. Another thing I do is check my progress every month. I listen to my old recordings and compare them with new ones. I read my old writing and see how much I've improved. I notice that I make fewer mistakes, use better vocabulary, and speak more naturally. This kind of review shows me that my effort is paying off. It also helps me see which areas still need more attention. Maybe I need to improve linking words in writing or reduce hesitation in speaking. Then I plan my next steps based on that. Let's try a review challenge together. Think about your last week of learning. What new words did you learn? Can you remember them now and say them in a sentence? What grammar rule did you practice? Can you explain it in your own words? What video did you watch or article did you read? Can you summarize it in 2 sentences? This type of review is great for reflection and helps move knowledge from short-term to long-term memory. I also remind myself of my why. I ask, why am I learning English? For me, it's because I want to connect with more people around the world. I want to watch movies without subtitles. I want to travel confidently and maybe even work in another country one day. Remembering my purpose helps me stay motivated. So I write my reason in big letters. I'm learning English to connect, grow, and succeed. I keep it on my wall or in my notebook, and I read it when I feel tired or stuck. Let's take a moment now and think about your reason. Why are you learning English? Say it out loud. Is it for your job? For travel? To pass a test? Or just because you love languages? Whatever your reason is, it's important. Write it down and keep it close. This will guide you when learning feels hard. It's your own personal reminder of why you started. Another powerful method I include in my routine is visualization. Before I go to bed, I close my eyes and imagine myself speaking English fluently. I see myself having a conversation with someone, explaining my ideas clearly, laughing, and feeling confident. I imagine myself reading an English book with ease, or giving a presentation without fear. This mental practice boosts my motivation and helps my brain prepare for real situations. It's a simple and calming way to end the day, and it keeps my goals fresh in my mind. Before sleeping, I also do one last review. I quietly repeat the new words I learned that day. I say them softly, almost like a whisper. I use them in simple sentences in my head. I don't worry about mistakes. I just let the words flow through my mind one last time. This helps move the information into my long-term memory. Then I close my notebook, take a deep breath, and rest. Sleep is an important part of learning. A rested brain remembers more and learns faster. Sometimes I dream in English. It doesn't happen every night. But when it does, I feel really excited. It means that English is becoming part of my thinking. I wake up and try to remember what I said or heard in the dream, even if it's just a few words. I write them down. These moments remind me that I'm truly growing. My brain is starting to use English naturally, even when I'm not awake. Another way I make English a part of my lifestyle is by labeling things around me. I put small stickers on objects in my home. For example, on my desk, I write desk. On the mirror, I write mirror. On the fridge, I write refrigerator. Every time I see these labels, I read the word. This builds word associations and helps me think in English. You can try this too, especially with common objects you use daily. It's a simple trick, but very effective. I also set up my phone in English. My settings, apps, and even my search engine are all in English. At first, it felt confusing, but after a few days, I got used to it. Now I learn new words like settings, notifications, battery, and brightness just by using my phone. I do the same with social media. I follow English learning accounts and pages. I read short posts, comments, and captions. This turns my screen time into practice time. Finally, I remind myself every day that progress is not about perfection. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep moving forward, step by step. Some days I feel confident, and other days I feel stuck. That's okay. What matters is showing up, practicing, and staying curious. I don't compare myself to others. I celebrate my journey, my effort, and my growth. And that brings us to the end of today's lesson. I hope sharing my English study routine has given you new ideas, inspiration, and energy for your own learning. Remember, you don't need to do everything at once. Start with 1 or 2 habits that feel right for you. Make them part of your day. Stay patient, stay consistent, and most of all, enjoy the process. English is not just a subject, it's a tool to open doors, connect with people, and express who you are. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Keep going, keep learning, and I'll see you again next time.